All right, so I have a really powerful question, or a really good question that someone in my free Facebook group posted, and I wanted to go into detail about this and do a video on this. So the question of the day is this, she asked, for instance, when manifesting an SP, how can I know that the version of him that I manifest, which I may think is perfect, is really what's best for my own development if my higher self has all the info? So I'm going to talk in detail about that, so stay tuned, you don't want to miss that. Hey everyone, it's Kim Velez, Conscious Life and Success Coach, and I'm really excited to be here with you today. So before we dive into this amazing question, if you are not a part of my free group, I highly suggest that you join. It's fun in there. People are super supportive in there. The link can be found below. It's called the Self-Concept Community. If you also feel like you need additional support other than my free content, I do have so many different ways that you can work with me. I have a paid Facebook group where I'm in there twice a week. I mean, at least for like 45 minutes each time that I pop in there. We do a live training, and then we do a Q&A every week. I also have a coaching group Zoom group, if that's what you want to call it, where twice a month we jump in as a group, we do live Q&As, and you get hot seat coaching with me, and such a great way to work with me and really keep your maintenance and momentum going, so that you can keep having these powerful breakthroughs. I also have, self-guided courses as well, such as how to manifest your SP back and keep them for good. And I also have You Are the Prize, your self-concept when it comes to love, because you are the most important. All right, so many other things as well, but you can find it all below. I have email coaching too, in the description links below. All right, so let's talk about this, right? So we have to remember something, that everyone in your reality is reflecting your story of how you see yourself in regards to them, and generally, as well as the story you hold about them. So when we are in the process of manifesting an SP back, right, or an X back, it's understanding that this is a couple things, because I've had this actually happen to me several times where I had outgrown the person, right? So I still got my manifestation in, I still had the SP come back in and profess, their undying love, and that they wanted to, commit to me, and that I was the one, and the apology and just everything that I had affirmed for. I had outgrown that person. I no longer wanted to be with that person. So this is a thing, is we have to remember that when we are affirming for this version of someone and we're changing our self-concept, you are in charge all of the time. You're in charge because you're the creator of your reality, you're the operant power, but you also get to decide what you choose to accept and not accept. So if your person comes back in and you decide, for whatever reasons, I'm just not really interested anymore, because it fucking happens, then you get to decide that. You do not have to continue anything with that person. But this whole thing is not about the SP. And that's what a lot of people keep thinking and focusing on until they really understand everyone is you pushed out on a deeper spiritual level. What this whole game is about you changing your assumptions and your thoughts that do not support you getting the outcomes that you desire. So it never has anything to do with the other people in your reality. It has only everything to do with you. There is no one to change but self. You have to change your perspective of how you see yourself in their eyes, or, in relationships and love relationships, right? And you have to change the story of them or people in general that you date, so that you break your old programming and you start getting the types and versions of people that you desire and the kinds of relationships that you want. This is the power that you have. So they will always reflect to you what is dominant in you. So even if they come in and you don't want them, it's not that, well, they're not the right version of me for my higher self, because again, they're only reflecting you. They're only reflecting your story of how you see them and how you see yourself. So again, it's not about them, it's about you. And as you continue to grow and work on your self-concept and work on your story of being a master manifester and having everything unfold in your favor, and really unprogramming that old programming that says you're not deserving and worthy of this, or you reprogram that old programming that says, I don't get this, people, they don't stay with me, they hurt me, whatever the old story is that has manifested over and over again. that is you always evolving and being more and more of your higher self, right? So any person that's coming into your reality will mirror that perspective you have. So this is why it's never about them. It's only about you. So as you continue to do your inner transformational work, as you continue to really focus on reprogramming yourself to be a different version of you, because if you were the woman or the man who overcame this, I can't even speak today. I have not had enough coffee, apparently. Been like this all morning. Okay, so if you overcome all your shit, right, then you would have everything you want. You would feel different. You would think different. You wouldn't be rejected. You wouldn't feel not loved, not chosen, not wanted, right? So this is about you evolving, and then the versions end up reflecting that back to you. Now, obviously, as you evolve your story of who you are, you still need to change a story of certain people if you have one that is not matching the story or the outcome that you desire. So that is definitely important too. But this is about understanding, again, it's still about you having to change your own perspective of them. So no one can conform unless you conform internally, right? So it's conforming your story, it's conforming your inner conversations, it's conforming your inner talks, inner thoughts, inner speech to be matching and aligned with the goal, the end result that you desire, living in the end, right? That's what we talk about all the time. So they will continue to reflect that back to you. So it's not that they're not going to be the right version for you. They'll be the right version when you have conformed the story enough and you've manifested in that version to reflect that beautiful new story that you have. Now that new story internally has become dominant, is pushed out, then they've conformed to that story. So this is why it's important to understand, again, it's never about anyone outside of you, right? It's always fucking about you. You are the star of your reality. Whatever is going on in this beautiful mind is what you're focused on, nothing else. So you will always, always know what's best for you when you're doing your inner work and you're paying attention. Well, what do I want? Who do I want to be? How do I want to feel? What do I want to experience? And you keep training your mind to focus more on that rather than the old programming that says otherwise, okay? And that's really what this whole game is about. So in my opinion and my own experiences of manifesting in lots of SPs multiple times, it's not about them, it's me. It's what do I want for myself? And do I want to spend time recreating someone, or do I want to just focus on me and then manifest someone and totally new? That's a personal preference for everyone, right? You still are going to have to do your work if you have a history of failed relationships, because there's natural assumptions that you have when you get romantically involved with someone that you're serious about or want to be serious with or catch feelings for or whatever, where it ends up, not in your favor. So that has to be reprogrammed, because that'll continue to manifest over and over again. Case in point, me, okay? I know that for a fact. So that's why, again, it's always about you. So you will decide as you do your work if you choose to, be with someone or not. Now, we always change when we do work on ourselves, and our choices and what we're looking for in a partner can change as well. And you can, again, recreate anyone you want. So that's your prerogative. But I know certain things with me, with this one SP in mind, this was like several years ago, that when he, came back professing everything that I had, affirmed, and I met up with him to have a conversation, I just realized, and I just lost interest in him. I just wasn't interested in him anymore. So that happens, again, you are in charge of what you accept or not. You know what I mean? It's just like sometimes we're so excited to get some kind of job or something, right? And then we get it, and then a year later we're like, okay, I'm ready for something different. Or you work there for several years and you're just like, I'm kind of over this. What's next for me, So we do always grow and evolve if we're kind of working on ourselves, or we have different desires and tastes, but you can always change it. You don't have to stay stuck with someone or something forever. That is up to you. But you want to be in control and understanding, is it because, I've outgrown this person and I no longer desire to recreate them, and whatever, I'm looking for something different. I don't want it from this person. That's very different than, being on autopilot and your natural assumptions that are not favorable keep manifesting in the same experiences. So it's more about understanding that you get to decide if you want this person back in your life. You get to decide if you want to recreate people. Again, because it's not about them, it's about you. And you'll know when someone comes back in your life, you're just like, I'm just really not that interested anymore. Or you're like, oh my God, yes, I'm so happy for this, you know? So I would not really overthink this. I would really just understand more that this whole thing is about you. Like Neville's very clear, no one to change but self. It's always about you changing the story of yourself, the other person, or people in general, and what you're assuming is happening. And those are the three powerful things that you need to be mindful of, especially if you have a history of failed outcomes in a certain area of your life. That is a key indicator that you have natural assumptions that are on autopilot that will continue to manifest until you consciously reprogram them. That's what we're all doing here. So you're going to decide as you continue to evolve what it is, the types of experiences you want, your own beliefs. So, I can remember different times in my life where I was, when I was an accountant, I was like, oh, okay, and couldn't even see myself being a therapist, and then when I realized I didn't want to be an accountant, that this wasn't for me, which I figured out pretty quickly, I went on a self-discovery path because this is like 15, 20 years ago. So it wasn't like I had, YouTube and all these, enlightenment things to really help me figure shit out quickly. So I went on the self-discovery journey, and it took me 2 years to figure out what I wanted to do, which led me to becoming a therapist, which has now led me here. So even as I'm growing, like with careers, I keep changing my perspective of how I want to help people. I've always helped people, though. I mean, I became a therapist to help people. And now I'm coaching people and I'm helping people in a different way with different topics, right? So you can always pivot and adjust. So you're never stuck in something, because we do change and we do grow and we do have different perspectives and we do have different wants and desires. And what we may have wanted, 10 years ago is definitely not the same of what we want now. And that's okay. But again, you're in control. You're the operant power. So you'll always be able to recreate and manifest what it is that you want to now align with that desire. All you have to do is focus on it. And you will have multiple ways that it manifests into your reality. We just don't get delivered one way. We get delivered multiple ways. And then you get to decide what you feel is the best fit for you. And you're not stuck. It's not permanent. So don't be living in fear that you're making a mistake. Don't live in fear that if I do this, then am I stuck? No, you're not. You're not. You can decide to be with who it is you want to. You just focus on you. Focus on you. Trust in you, knowing there's a reason why I want this. And again, you may not want it in 6 months. It happens. But you will be in charge of that. You're always in charge. So no harm, no foul. All right.